The topic of my final project is contemporary artist Ryan McGinnis. Today I'll be taking you through his brief history and providing a better insight into his artwork. Ryan McGinnis is an inspired and talented artist whose claim to fame is his unique collection of paintings featuring his strong use of iconography. Ryan McGinnis was born in 1972 in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Not much is known of his early life. In interviews, he chooses to focus more on his artwork and his future rather than talk about his personal life. One thing that he will say about his early life is where he got his inspiration. McGinnis alludes that growing up amongst the surf and skate culture of his hometown gave him the inspiration for the artwork that he now creates today. He attended college, studying at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with the distinction of being an Andrew Carnegie Scholar. While still studying at college, he also interned at the Andy Warhol Museum as an assistant curator. McGinnis currently lives in Manhattan, New York, where he continues to create unique works of art. McGinnis mainly creates paintings, graphic prints, sculptures, and what can only be described as environments, which bring the above-mentioned works together into an extraordinary display. He has art on display in galleries all over the world, and his artwork has been featured in hundreds of different displays. The earliest date of McGinnis's artwork being on display at a museum was in the year 1995, which would have been when he was about 23. With his art, McGinnis chooses to use iconography and symbolism to give his paintings a greater depth. He chooses to focus his artwork on, quote, communicating complex and poetic concepts with a cold, graphic, and authoritative visual vocabulary, end quote. McGinnis focuses on shape, line, color, and composition within his simplified pictures, with the end result somewhere in between abstraction and representation. He self-proclaims to be interested in understanding the human obsession with understanding and finding a deeper meaning, which he tries to convey throughout his art. Ryan McGinnis is most well known for his original use of an extensive repertoire of visual language such as public signage, corporate logos, and contemporary icons to create graphic drawings and prints, otherwise better well known as logo paintings. Some of his work is on permanent display in public collections at the Museum of Modern Art, Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, Museum of Contemporary Art, San Diego, Cincinnati Art Museum, MUSAC in Spain, and the Misumi Collection in Japan. Art History is Not Linear is an environment created by Ryan McGinnis on display at the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. McGinnis created the main 16-panel painting specifically for this museum, who wanted to use his art as the feature for their recent expansions and renovations. It features paintings, graphic prints, and sculptures all created by McGinnis. McGinnis started the project by poring over a catalog of the museum's holdings. He drew some of the works in a notebook and then refined the final sketches to create monochrome pictograms, sort of like creating an alphabet for the different pieces of art in the museum. His method of painting with the graphic logos is quite fascinating. He takes the pictograms and then prints the logos onto the paintings using a silk screener with vivid acrylic paint. McGinnis explains that he arranges the symbols in a purely visual manner. He doesn't group the different art pieces he printed onto his canvas in any form of geographical or chronological order, and he instead focuses on form, line, and shape to create his prints. It was an interesting project for McGinnis to undertake, as he professes a dislike for art that is more history-related, but he ended up using a great deal of history-related art for his pictograms. He did, however, state that by using the history pieces and taking them out of this original context, he neutralized the history and left only the art. Speaking as one who has been to the exhibit in Virginia, I confess that I was obsessed with his gallery within the museum. What first caught my attention were the bright, vivid colors that he used in his paintings, but then I found myself still staring at the painting, analyzing the different symbols within and throughout the art. It was hard to look away, except to move on to the next painting in line. Another great thing about the exhibit was that they had a documentary within the display showing how he actually created the paintings using his silk screening process. I was fascinated with this video. It was quite interesting. Another bonus was that the museum was giving away a poster consisting of every single different pictogram that he had used in a painting. I thought it interesting that the museum created a key of sorts that you could take and look through the paintings for different logos. I actually found this project more difficult than the midterm project in terms of choosing the topic about which to present. While I'm more enthusiastic and interested in music, most of the music I listen to is classical and not from the time period specified. And I wanted to explore a side of the arts that I wouldn't normally be interested in, so I decided to pick an artist. I decided on Ryan McGinnis because I visited one of his galleries at the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, and I was fascinated by his sculptures and his art prints. On the whole, I really enjoyed learning more about McGinnis and discovering some different reasons for his unique form of artistry.